There is a moment in life when the body begins to whisper. It no longer screams with energy like it did at 20. It doesn't bounce back from late nights, careless meals, or constant stress as it once did. That moment is the beginning of awakening. And for many, it begins around the age of 40. This is not decline. This is the invitation. The invitation to stop treating the body like an experiment and begin honoring it as a temple. The younger years were often a time of indulgence. Fast food, carbonated drinks, processed snacks, greasy feasts, all were taken in without much thought. And the body, resilient and forgiving in its youth, absorbed the damage silently. But that era comes to an end. Past 40, the system changes. Metabolism slows, organs become more sensitive, and what once passed through unnoticed now lingers and accumulates. The body begins to signal its limits. You feel it in the morning when waking up tired despite enough sleep. You feel it in your joints when climbing stairs. You feel it in your digestion, your memory, your skin, your breath. These are not just signs of age, they are signs of how the temple is being treated. Imagine walking into a sacred shrine, the air heavy with incense, the space peaceful and still. You would not bring trash into such a place, your place. You would not throw soda cans in the corner or leave plastic wrappers scattered across the floor. Yet this is exactly how many treat their own internal space. Every artificial ingredient, every preservative, every deep-fried snack is like bringing noise into stillness, garbage into purity. And over time, the space loses its sacredness. It becomes polluted. Not in an instant, but gradually. This is the danger of slow decay. It hides behind familiarity. People say, but I've always eaten like this. Yes, and now the body is finally revealing the consequences. After 40, your body keeps score. It remembers what you pretend to forget. It holds on to the saturated fats, the processed sugars, the toxic oils. Your liver does not forget. Your gut does not forget. Your heart, it never forgets. It is not about being fearful, it is about being mindful. To feed your body is to cast a vote. Do I choose life or do I choose slow decline? Some habits must die so that you may live fully. Comfort foods, when consumed unconsciously, bring discomfort to your organs. They give you 5 seconds of flavor and 5 years of struggle. The body now wiser demands that you too become wiser, not only in what you eat, but why you eat. Food was never meant to be an escape from boredom or stress or emotional emptiness. It was meant to nourish, not numb. Begin to observe your meals the way you would observe a ceremony. What is being placed on the plate? Where did it come from? How was it prepared? Is it giving you energy or draining your life force? Is it medicine or is it poison? These are not dramatic questions. These are essential questions, because after 40, every decision begins to matter more. Your cells are not reproducing as quickly. Your immune system is not defending as strongly. Your hormones are shifting. The terrain is different and the strategy must change too. You do not need a complicated diet. You need clarity. You do not need extreme restrictions. You need honesty. Honesty to admit what is harming you. Courage to release what you crave but no longer need. Discipline to choose what strengthens rather than what seduces. Each meal is an act of self-respect or self-betrayal, and the body, this sacred temple, listens every time, not with judgment but with truth. It reflects your choices. It mirrors your values. The greatest wisdom is simplicity. Eat what is real, drink what is pure, avoid what is fake. What's grown in soil, nourished by sun, shaped by nature, this is fuel. What's wrapped in plastic, dyed with chemicals and engineered in a lab, this is noise. After 40, your body cannot process noise. It wants silence. It wants peace. It wants balance. Give it what it seeks and it will reward you with strength, clarity, vitality. Deny it and it will rebel, not loudly, but slowly, in the form of fatigue, inflammation, disease. Honor the temple, not because someone told you to, but because once you realize what's truly at stake, there's no other way to live. There are poisons that kill instantly. And then there are poisons that kill slowly, sweetly, silently, seductively. Sugar belongs to the second kind. It doesn't announce itself with alarms. It doesn't wound with sharp pain. It whispers in pleasure, disguises itself in happiness, and slowly unravels the inner workings of the human body until what remains is not life, but dependency. After the age of 40, the human body becomes more sensitive to imbalance. The buffer of youth no longer absorbs damage without consequence. Now each decision echoes louder. And of all the choices we make, sugar is often the most hidden enemy. It does not knock on the door dressed as danger. It walks in wearing celebration, reward, and comfort. It hides in sauces, in drinks, in breakfast foods, in snacks labeled as a healthy. It is everywhere, yet nowhere obvious, and that is where the danger lies. When you consume sugar, especially in processed form, you are not just feeding a craving, you are triggering a storm inside. Blood sugar spikes rapidly, and your body responds by releasing insulin to control it. But repeated spikes create chaos. The system is forced into overwork. Over time, the body becomes resistant. Insulin no longer listens. Sugar stays in the blood. Cells become starved. Fat is stored. Inflammation begins. The very foundation of health begins to corrode, not in days, but in years, silently, slowly. You see the effects not immediately, but over time. The brain fog that sets in during midday. The low energy despite sleeping. The cravings that become uncontrollable. The belly fat that refuses to move. The skin that loses its glow. The mood swings. The irritability. The pre-diabetic warning signs. These are not coincidences. These are the quiet screams of a system flooded with sweetness that has turned sour. People say, "Oh, but I only eat sugar in moderation." But what is moderation when sugar is in everything? A flavored yogurt, a so-called healthy cereal, a piece of bread, a glass of juice, a handful of crackers, all of them contain sugar, often in hidden forms: corn syrup, maltodextrin, dextrose, sucrose. Different names, same result. The body does not care for labels. It responds to the chemistry. And when the chemistry is manipulated, so is your health. After 40, sugar doesn't just add weight, it adds risk to your heart, your liver, your brain. It contributes to fatty liver disease, even in those who don't drink alcohol. It fuels inflammation that worsens joint pain. It accelerates skin aging, damages collagen, and depletes the very essence that gives you vitality. Sugar feeds the very conditions you fear: diabetes, cardiovascular disease, cancer. And all the while, it wears a mask of sweetness. The problem is not just physical. Sugar alters the mind. It activates the reward centers in the brain, the same centers triggered by drugs. It gives you a brief sense of joy, then pulls you into withdrawal, only to make you seek more. It does not nourish your hunger. It manipulates it. It does not give you energy. It robs you of it later. It replaces awareness with addiction. You are no longer eating. You are being eaten. To free yourself, you must first see clearly. Look at sugar not through the eyes of taste, but through the eyes of truth. Ask yourself, is this flavor worth my suffering? Is this bite worth my imbalance? What am I trying to soothe with sweetness? Often we use sugar not because the body asks for it, but because the soul is uneasy, because the heart is heavy, because something is missing. But sugar is not the answer to emotional hunger. It is only a distraction. You don't need to fear sugar. You need to understand it. You need to regain control over it. This begins not by force, but by awareness. Start reading labels. Start asking what is inside what you are consuming. Begin to feel, not just taste, what sugar is doing to your body. Notice the crash after the high. Observe the pattern of craving. Break the pattern not with punishment, but with presence. Replace fake sweetness with real nourishment. Fruits in their natural form, rich in fiber and nutrients. Whole foods that stabilize blood sugar rather than sabotage it. Hydration instead of soft drinks. Gratitude instead of indulgence. And most of all, learn to taste life, not just food. True sweetness is in deep breath, in morning sunlight, in the clarity of a calm mind. Sugar cannot replace that. It never could. You are not a machine designed to run on artificial energy. You are a living, breathing being created to thrive on balance, simplicity, and truth. Every spoon of sugar is a vote, not just for taste, but for the future of your health. And once you begin to feel the depths of your own aliveness, you will no longer crave what dims your light. There is a cost to every shortcut. What looks like convenience often hides a price that is paid not in money, but in health, vitality, and years of your life. In the modern world, processed food stands as the most deceptive form of consumption. It is fast, it is cheap, it is accessible, but underneath its shiny packaging and its engineered flavors lies something dangerous: food that is no longer food, calories without nourishment, taste without life, sustenance that slowly strips the body of its natural intelligence. After the age of 40, the body demands precision. It no longer tolerates the ambiguity of artificial ingredients. It becomes sensitive to what is real and what is not. And it begins to speak more clearly than ever before. That bloating after a packaged snack, that brain fog after a microwaved meal, that sudden fatigue after fast food. These are not coincidences, these are signals. Alarms from the system that was never designed to process chemicals, preservatives, artificial flavors, emulsifiers, dyes, and synthetic fats. Walk into any modern supermarket and you will see aisles filled with food-like substances created not by farmers but by laboratories. Designed not to nourish but to addict. Each chip is crafted to break with a specific crunch. Each cookie is engineered to melt on the tongue with perfect sweetness. Each frozen dinner is formulated to trigger the illusion of satisfaction. Yet your cells are left starving. Starving. You are full, but you are not fed. You have eaten, but you are still empty. The human body was created for whole foods, for things that grow, ripen, and die. Nature never intended for us to consume items that can sit on a shelf for years and still taste the same. That kind of durability may be good for business, but it is poison for the body. Every system in your body begins to slow in function. Your liver cannot detoxify at the same pace. Your digestive tract becomes more sensitive. Your metabolism adjusts downward, or metabolism adjusts downward. What was once tolerated now becomes a burden. Every time you consume processed food, you are introducing confusion into the body. It has to work harder to break it down, to identify what is usable and what is toxic. And in this constant state of emergency, inflammation becomes chronic. Organs are stressed, hormones are disrupted. Gut bacteria, your second brain, is damaged. The immune system weakens, and slowly conditions that seem unrelated begin to rise. High blood pressure, elevated cholesterol, insulin resistance, autoimmune disorders, mood swings, fatigue. These are not random outcomes. They are manufactured, just like the food you consumed. And the saddest truth is this: many never make the connection. They continue to believe that aging is the cause. They say, this is what happens after 40, but they are wrong. Oh, this is not the natural consequence of time. It is the artificial consequence of what you feed yourself day after day. Not every illness is preventable, but many are caused, and the cause lies in the kitchen, not in fate, not in fate. There is a phrase whispered in ancient wisdom: what is made quickly dies quickly. What is made slowly lives long. Your food is no exception. What is made in factories is not just stripped of nutrition, it is stripped of soul. There is no life force in it, no prana. Uido, no energy that connects you back to the earth. It is dead matter, animated only by chemistry and trickery. And when you consume it, you become what you eat: sluggish, disconnected, empty. The way out is not hard. It is just uncommon. Begin to cook. Begin to touch your ingredients. Begin to ask where your food comes from. When you prepare a meal with your own hands, something magical happens. You engage with the process of life. You slow down. You taste more. You require less. Your body recognizes real food and responds with strength, with clarity, with harmony. There is nothing wrong with saving time, but when saving time costs you years of health, it is no longer a gift. Convenience that destroys your temple is not convenience. It is carelessness. You must be willing to sacrifice the illusion of ease for the reality of well-being. You must be courageous enough to say no to what is popular and say yes to what is real, especially after 40. Especially when the second half of life is either a descent into pain or a rise into mastery. Food is not just fuel, it is information. It tells your body what to do, how to feel, and how to age. If you give it fake signals, it will malfunction. If you give it truth, it will thrive. The choice is not between hunger and processed food. The choice is between temporary pleasure and long-term suffering. Between addiction and freedom. Between life and a slow death wrapped in plastic. When you think of inflammation, you may picture swelling, redness, or the body's reaction to injury. But what most fail to see is the silent form of inflammation, the one that hides deep beneath the surface. The kind that doesn't come from a wound or a bruise, but from something far more subtle and often overlooked: the food on your plate. Inflammation doesn't always begin with pain. It often begins with a decision, a choice made every day, multiple times a day, often unconsciously, as we place bite after bite into our mouths without asking what it is doing to our system. After 40, the body changes. The ability to handle internal stress weakens. The immune system becomes more reactive, and the repair mechanisms that once worked silently in the background now require more support. But instead of support, Most people are unknowingly feeding fire to the system. And the source of this fire is found not in viruses or trauma, but in the oils we use, the additives we consume, the hidden sugars we crave, and the processed meals we normalize. Inflammation is not always loud. It doesn't need to scream to do its damage. It creeps in through joint pain that seems random, through fatigue that never fully lifts, through headaches that come without cause, through restless sleep, tight muscles, mood swings, digestive issues. These are not isolated symptoms. They are interconnected signs of a body under silent attack. And that attack often begins at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The body is not trying to punish you with discomfort. It is trying to guide you with signals. Every time you consume foods filled with refined carbohydrates, hydrogenated oils, artificial preservatives, or chemical flavorings, your body must launch a defensive response. It sends immune cells to neutralize what it perceives as a threat. And over time, when this becomes a daily event, the immune system becomes overactive, confused, and destructive. It starts to attack not just the invaders, but your own tissues. This is the root of countless chronic conditions, not just arthritis. Many people live years, even decades, with chronic low-grade inflammation and never realize that the origin of their suffering is not their age, but their habits. They blame the pain on getting older, the fog on stress, the fatigue on busy schedules. But the truth is more uncomfortable. The body is simply reacting to what it is being fed. And when it is fed toxicity in the name of taste or convenience, it cannot remain silent forever. Imagine your body as a fire temple, a place where energy burns cleanly when the right fuel is offered. But offer it dirty fuel, processed fats, synthetic chemicals, excess alcohol, refined sugars, and the fire becomes wild, erratic, and damaging. Smoke fills the lungs. Heat scorches the walls. The temple is no longer a place of purity, it becomes a site of destruction. Yet the destruction is invisible until it begins to manifest externally. In your posture, in your performance, in your presence. You must understand that every ingredient you put into your body speaks to your cells. It either brings calm or chaos. The body is listening not to what you say, but to what you eat. And food has the power to either trigger inflammation or soothe it. Real food, food born of the earth, not factories, carries within it the intelligence of harmony. Leafy greens, berries, turmeric, ginger, fatty fish, nuts, seeds, clean water. These are not just healthy options, they are medicine. They are the language of healing. When you eat them, your body recognizes the signal. I am safe, I am supported, I can rest, I can heal. But when the body is bombarded by inflammatory agents daily, it never gets to rest. It becomes a warrior that is always fighting, always defending, never rebuilding. And when you live in that state for years, breakdown becomes inevitable. You cannot build a powerful life on a foundation of constant internal war. After 40, you are no longer living off the momentum of youth. You are living by the wisdom of choice. And wisdom means learning to recognize that not all food is fuel. Some food is fire, some food is friction. And unless you become aware, you will keep feeding the very thing you are trying to escape. You will take medication to silence the pain without addressing its root. You will blame aging for what is actually inflammation. The journey of healing begins not in the pharmacy but in the kitchen. The first medicine is not in a bottle, it is in a bowl, on a plate, in your daily rituals. To reduce inflammation is to remove what inflames. It is to pause before you eat and ask, will this feed my healing or my suffering? The body responds to what you choose, what you choose. And every choice is either a drop of water or a drop of fuel on the fire within.